Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
The Global AI Conclave was an extraordinary journey that left an indelible mark on the landscape of artificial intelligence. The event witnessed a convergence of global and Indian thought leaders, innovators, investors, founders, and disruptors. Together, they engaged in insightful discussions that illuminated the profound impact of AI across industries and societies. Here are some of the key highlights. Tathagato Rai Dastidar, founder and CEO at Sigtuple, Viren Shetty, vice chairman at Narayana Health, and Tushar Vashisht, co-founder and CEO of Healthify, provided their perspectives on integrating AI into healthcare.
See, the potential for AI in healthcare, at least the way we think about it as healthcare providers, is of an assistant more than anything else. The promise is that it can revolutionize things. It can, replace the doctor, replace the nurse, replace the hospital, replace drugs, replace everything. Maybe at some indeterminate point in the future. But right now, the way we think about the role is that something that will be useful for all of us for triaging, for taking data and making it structured, for helping remind me that it's time for my medication, for helping the patient think about when their next appointment should be. And that's the role that we think it will have most value for patients in a resource-poor setting like ours. There's no part of our healthcare ecosystem, starting from the person giving the medicines to the person who's taking care of hospitals, where they will not use AI. This is it's a foundational technology. It's like internet at this point. It's just going to be embedded into every single aspect of the way in which our modern organizations function.
Tushar, I think with your business, we all know the app and what you're trying to do there, and I think kudos to you. Tell us a little bit about your work and where does AI fit in, and how does that help you build this business and get it to where it is right
now? We started using AI actually for helping our coaches do their job so much more efficiently back in 2017 and 18. We were using statistical models, LSTM-based systems, sort of bag-of-word systems to help craft messages for them, build diet plans for them, create better voice notes-taking protocol. I remember very early days of voice-to-text transcription and whatnot. That allowed us to be able to handle today almost 250 clients to a coach. Adding a lot of leverage from what was only 40 clients to a coach. In 2019, we had exposed a consumer-first AI product, AI-only product. I think it was one of the first AI subscriptions for health in the world. Today, half of our 250,000 paying subscribers use that particular SKU. So half of our business today is reliant on an AI-only subscription.
Tathagat, you've been listening intently. Tell us a little bit about what you are building at Sigtuple, and where does, again, AI come in, and just talk to us a little bit about the business that you're running.
So we work on applying AI in the diagnosis, for the diagnosis. So if you look at a clinical laboratory today, most of the processes there are fully automated. There are machines that takes in a sample, gives out numbers. But there is one area in the lab which is almost completely unautomated. So when a diseased sample is received, that usually requires a pathologist or a qualified reviewer to examine it with a microscope, which could be because of, say, a tissue biopsies. It could be a blood sample for maybe malaria detection or low platelet counts. It could be a sputum sample for TB. All this kind of a job is not automated in more than 90-95% of labs across the world.
I think we've only barely scratched the surface, but we're completely out of time. So I'm going to thank all of you for being part of this wonderful panel. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
Addressing current concerns, Swapna Bapar, Vice President Product Management, Palo Alto, shared her thoughts on the security and safety considerations surrounding AI in today's time.
Every time technology evolves, so for example, when cloud came or when cellular networks started, cybersecurity is always something that has to keep pace. And when you look at the landscape today, especially with the use of AI, cybersecurity has to be studied from the two sides, right? There are two sides. So let's look at the adversarial side first. Understand your enemy, as they say, right? Keep your enemies close. So from the adversarial side, three things really come out at a very high level, right? Obviously. One is the sophistication of attacks. And I want to give you an example. Phishing. Phishing today still 85% of breaches are caused by human error. And that human error ranges from doing some activity wrong while they're running an environment to literally clicking on a wrong link. Now, previously, these phishing emails were very obviously wrong. So someone who's aware knew there was a grammatical error, there was punctuation mistakes. But thanks to very sophisticated LLMs, these phishing emails are seemingly very, very good. Even the domain name are very, very genuine.
What are some of the technologies that you're using to counter these more sophisticated attacks, and what sort of opportunities that artificial intelligence present, to be able to counter these phishing attacks and so on and so forth in the last couple of years that you've seen emerge?
The opportunity is going to be, for example, in how users interact with cybersecurity products. When you're dealing with 30, 35 vendors, you have to understand each product differently. You have to go and make changes across. There is a whole element of knowledge base that has to be developed in the company. These deep models are going to create an opportunity for these cybersecurity vendors to make interacting with products very easy. That's going to be a key differentiator for cybersecurity companies.
On that note, thanks very much, Swapna, for sharing your thoughts here.
Sunil Gupta, co-founder, managing director and CEO of Yota Data Services, engaged in a conversation with Ganesh Mahabala, director, strategic business of NVIDIA, exploring the requirements for India to develop an AI supercomputer.
We are talking about creating AI modules, talent, education, academia, and many other facets which the minister also touched upon. But one facet which I think is getting discussed most, where are the GPU chips? And that is the answer we have tried to give by creating this cloud called Shakti Cloud. Shakti, as you know, is power, and GPU gives the power to run AI. So we thought it's appropriate that we Indians in India, in Indian data center, controlled by Indians, are creating a cloud for AI. So we gave it name Shakti Cloud. Essentially what we are doing is, thank you. Essentially what we are doing is, I'm a data center company. I run data center campuses in Mumbai and Delhi. In these data centers, I'm giving space, power, and cooling for customers. I'm giving cloud services. By the way, by February, I'll be launching, hoping to have a credible alternative to Amazon, Google, and Azure by launching another cloud called Yantra Cloud, which will be, again, a cloud completely built, created by, designed by, built by, operated by, controlled by Indians, so that not only your data is localized, but the machinery which is running your data, the cloud, is also owned and controlled by Indians, which I think in the current geopolitical context is very, very important. So that is Yantra Cloud.
Fantastic, Sunil. That is fantastic for India. But having said that, I'm sure AI Shakti Cloud, the Yota Shakti Cloud is going to make a very high impact to the AI landscape of India. And if you can throw a little more light on how it is going to accelerate the work which already people are into AI adoption journey.
I think there is a whole community out there in this hall and beyond, which is already making a whole lot of AI models, who are doing so much of research and development work on creating use cases for various industries, and that is their job. They are good at doing that. That is not the job I am doing. I'm not going to create models. But what you are all asking for is the underlying GPU capacity, the network capacity, the storage capacity, and possibly the PaaS layer, which helps you in developing your model. That is the problem I'm solving. Essentially, that is what is cloud model all about. One is making the GPUs available to you on a very cost-effective usage model. Second is making it available at a very lower cost. And third is giving you the entire software framework so that you can use it very easily and not getting into a huge complications of software layer which runs between your model and the underlying GPUs. That's what I'm doing.
Thank you, Sunil, and we wish you more Shakti to you to get you more AI computing Shakti to the digital India AI adopters there. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you so much.
Manu Chopra, co-founder of Karya AI, and Prashant Prakash, founder-partner Axel, delved into the question of whether AI can uplift Bharat.
AI represents a fundamental technological shift, and I think the last one we saw was the internet, right? And I mean, everywhere I go, I talk about this paper Viren Shetty wrote in late 1990s, talking about how the internet will create this end of information asymmetry, right? That the age of you knowing more than me knowing, than I know because of where we live is over. I think 30 years since he wrote that, that hasn't panned out, right? Even today, 3 billion people have no access to the internet, like zero. And most of the world has intermittent access to the internet. So when I think about AI, and I think about it uplifting Bharat, the first thing that I think is very important is we cannot make that same mistake with AI. We simply cannot afford to repeat that same situation, right? So from day one, we have to think about how AI solutions that we build will serve everyone.
Prashant, if we can come to you. Yeah. Manu here has built a remarkable AI company out of India. But as one of the foremost investors, right, venture capital growth sort of investors, how do you see how companies and the ecosystem is geared towards solving some of these problems that we spoke about for Bharat?
I think you need a combination of next level of disruptive thinking. And that disruptive thinking is not, like Manu said, it's about also leveraging our capability to be integrated and serve the rest of the world's progression towards a digital world or an AI world. So I think the aspect that we really need to kind of keep in mind is, one is while we consume for ourselves and while we serve AI to solve for healthcare, education, we also need to figure out how do we participate in this whole global digital AI transformation. And that's where I like what Manu is doing. It's a good example of how you can pull millions of people out of otherwise would have either migrated to the city and would be doing very menial jobs, or would be in rural areas and would not be productive, right?
The founders of SURAM AI, Vivek Raghavan and Pratyush Kumar, secured a remarkable $41 million in funding last week, marking the most substantial Series A round for any AI startup in the country. Let's take a glimpse into their journey.
41 million bucks, man. That's a lot of money, right? Every entrepreneur here is saying, what the hell did these guys do? What did the investors see to write such a big check?
No, I think it's a trend of the new trend of what's going on in India. I think that for the very first time, I think the investors have looked at, let's try and build something deep tech out of the country, and let's try to figure out how to build something as a foundational technology out of the country. And that's really what's really exciting, And I think that I've been kind of working in kind of, both digital public infrastructure and kind of non-profit kind of things. But when this whole thing of generative AI came about, we said, okay, how can I actually make a difference in this space? And I said, maybe this is the opportunity to actually come out and really build something, and the only way that we realize that you can do it is actually in the private sector. And I think that's that. And then when we went out there and we said we want to build something which is a continuation, right? I mean, and fundamentally the question is, the reason of what we want to do at SURAM AI is we want to basically make generative AI available and accessible to the people in the country. And that's the intent. And when we said that we want to do this, there was a resonance in the investment community. And I think it's a responsibility to really to show that something like this can be built out of India. So we see that as confidence and a responsibility. And I also hope it's a trend that there are many more people like us who are backed. Because if you look at it, maybe it's a large number in the Indian context, but in the global context, I think there should be many more entrepreneurs who are backed to do things in India.
Let's talk about what you guys actually built. What is Open Hathi? How would you explain Open Hathi to many people here who might not have know about it?
So I think Open Hathi is, so first of all, right, I personally come from the open source ecosystem, and and also from the DPI ecosystem. So we believe that for this to work, we need the ecosystem to be successful. And as a result of that, one of the first things we did was, hey, there are these open source large language models that exist, right? I mean, everybody knows about the Llama family from Meta. They also, there are others like Mistral. There are a bunch of open source, large language models. And then we said, is there any way that take an existing open source model and teach it language skills, right? I mean, Indian language skills. And that is really the, what we said that can we do something like that? And is this a relatively frugal way of actually making models work in diverse languages? Because the truth is still today, I mean, if you look at the amount of data and knowledge, it is still English dominates these things. And it's Open Hathi is currently based on the Llama 7 billion model, but we'll be releasing many more models in different languages, different sizes, and things like that as part of this series.
Exploring the potential of AI as India's genie in the bottle, industry experts including Amitabh Nag, CEO of Bhashini, Sriram Raghavan, Vice President at IBM Research AI, Dr. Manish Gupta, Director Research at Google, and Kalika Bali, Principal Researcher at Microsoft Research India, shared their insights with Tanuj Bhojwani from People Plus AI.
Yeah, language happens to be one of the largest use case of AI, which is more diverse and impacts many people straight away. When at Bhashini, we had actually, done the speech recognition for 12 languages and text-to-speech for 12 languages. Plus, we had done the 22 machine translation on all the 22 languages which are part of Constitution. We have now embarked into the use cases which will impact the last mile or the last man in the queue in the country. So one of the use cases which which I can cite was also mentioned by PM in the GPI event was farmers chatbot. Right? When the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi transfers money and a farmer does not receive, the installment, then he is actually perhaps has to visit multiple offices to figure out why he has not got it. And this chatbot actually takes the input and voice and goes into the database, authenticates him, and then answers to him that whether his land parcel was not registered or bank account was not linked with Aadhaar or whatever could be the reason.
Over to Sriram. Sriram, you have 750 AI engineers working for you all over the globe. What's the most exciting thing, most exciting use case you see from an Indian context that gets you to go and to
Yeah,
work?
thank you, Tanuj. Pleasure to be here. So I want to lift us up from ground level now to about 30,000 kilometers or whatever is the height at which satellites operate. I want to open up the possibility of applying that same technology. We've seen it happen in language, in speech. We see it happen in audio. We see it happen in images. I want to open up the possibility for what is doable with geospatial data.
Dr. Manish Gupta, you are obviously director of research at Google. You have teams in India, US, and Australia you're leading, but you're also a scientist, right? Fundamentally, you've done your PhD and you've been an AI scientist with many citations to your paper. What is exciting you today that you thought even 3 years, 5 years ago, you were like, you didn't think it would happen now?
The first is languages. So we have been working on this theme of inclusive AI. How do we develop AI in a manner that brings its benefits to billions of new people? So we embarked on this journey with ISC on this project Vani, where our goal is to collect speech data from each and every one of the 773 districts in India. We have already completed phase 1, where we've collected data from 85 districts and made all of that data available under the Bhashini program, made it openly available, and excited about what comes next. And of course, in the area of agriculture, what we have been doing is, again, applying analysis over satellite imagery.
And brings us to Kalika. Kalika, you're at Microsoft Research, you work on language very closely. I'm guessing, I know your work, so I know that a lot of the use cases that are covered, but maybe for the audience, can you give us sort of a specific use case that, or an idea that excites you about why these models need to be more culturally aware, and why it's not just enough that they speak our language, but they also understand more than that?
Yes. Like I said, almost every place that I'm asked to speak, my job is never over till language is no longer the reason why people cannot interact with technology. And all these efforts that are happening are trying to make me redundant. But it's not just language, right? One part is collecting the data, making the applications, making the models aware of all the data, but it's also about the culture. Cultural context is really, really important, especially if you're going down and, like the speakers before me mentioned, Manish and Mr. Nag, that, you have to go down to the district level. You have to understand the culture also at almost that level.
Monica S. Garg, Additional Chief Secretary of the Government of Uttar Pradesh, discussed the transformative role of AI literacy in revolutionizing education initiatives led by the UP government.
So this team UPAI has been constituted, and it has taken up the campaign of AI literacy for all. Team UPAI is UPAI, that is Uttar Pradesh Artificial Intelligence, and when translated to English, it means a cure or a solution, Ritu. And it consists of policymakers, administrators, creative experts, subject experts, and even the stakeholders. So it is a very unique kind of a forum which has all these stakeholders in it. And we released a series of 22 videos in the month of October this year. These videos talk about what is AI, what is IoT, ML.
That's a wonderful thing to do, but how are you going about implementing it to ensure that it reaches the far-flung areas, it reaches all sections of society, and it's AI literacy for all, yes, beyond just school students?
Taking it forward has been a challenge, but the response has been very good. It has been overwhelming. We have declared these as open educational resources. Civil society has taken upon itself to translate them into other languages, and work has already commenced for Urdu and Punjabi. And Department of Technical Education has included these as the extracurricular activities.
For other people in the audience that may want to implement a similar program in, their states and respective, areas of interest, I wanted to understand, when you were taking this concept of artificial intelligence as part of the curriculum in schools, was there any initial resistance at all? What was the feedback, and how did you overcome if there was any challenge?
Well, Ritu, resistance happens to any change. Yeah. But we must understand that technology is not bad. When you know what you want from your life, what you want in your life, technology will get it for you. And when you don't know what you want in your life, then technology will shape your thoughts for you and will take control of your life. So at the moment, the algorithms are all watching you. They are relying on the big data and machine learning to get to know you better and better. So if you want to retain some control of your life, you would need to learn about these algorithms
and not let technology control you.
And about their technologies.
Coming from a generation of people that has not had artificial intelligence as a curriculum in our schools, we appreciate the work that you're doing, and we hope, that other states can emulate the example of the Uttar Pradesh government with its UPAI for artificial intelligence. Ms. Garg, it was a pleasure speaking with you, and we wish you all the very best with this initiative. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ritu. Thank you.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.